Welcome to the Fantasy Football Picks and Bets show on the Mayo Media Network. I'm your host, Scott Simpson. As always, we're presented by PrizePicks. Make sure you sign up for PrizePicks using the link in the description below. Code MMN and get your deposit doubled up to $100. It's basically free money, as we've said before. Make sure also that you subscribe and like on the Mayo Media Network here on YouTube. Again, MMN, that's the code. Do it. It's awesome. You're going to love it. And let's bring on our fantasy expert, my friend, as always, an LQ to you and me, LaQuan to some, a thief always, the real deal fantasy on Twitter. Welcome, brother. How you doing, sir?
Going on, Scott? Looking good, feeling good. I'm ready for this show, man. We got a great show lined up, some great picks, and Thursday Night Football is only a couple days away now. Let's go.
Oh man, I gotta say, for everybody out there, he does look great. Let's just be honest here. I love the setup.
Nah, man, I need a haircut. I'm wolfing right now.
Fire content only, you know what I mean? So I like it. I got trimmed up. If you don't recognize me, this is still me. I just look a little younger. My wife had, her desire me to shave the beard off. I said, all right, let's look good for vacation. I'm here.
Fitzpatrick, was it a tribute to him?
It was. I cried. Fitzpatrick on injured reserve. I thought there's no more reason to kind of look that way anymore. Let's look 32 instead of 42. So it's for the people. I'm glad I can bring you the good looking fire content that LaQuan normally does. I'm kind of stepping up my game with a great co-host. So this is going to be fun. Like you said, we've got amazing picks. I think there's some slam dunk money making winners here for PrizePicks. They're going to get us through this, nice week 3 as a start off. And then we can kind of free roll with that money the rest of the weekend. So I'm also here in North Carolina, a state that can do PrizePicks. So I'm going to do a bunch. I already put in my deposit. MMN. I got my $100. I'm ready to go right now today. So, but a couple of days, like you said, Thursday, it's like a little early look, but we'll do that. We'll do injuries. We'll also do kind of start sits. We'll get the whole kind of gambit of what happened in week 2 and bring it to you. So look, let's jump in first. Let's start with the rushing stats. We got 3 rushing props so far on the board. We've got Sam Darnold, Christian McCaffrey, Mark Ingram. Where do you want to start off? What do you think is an easy one you just want to smash?
I want to smash CMC absolutely against Houston for the 84.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to explode over that. That's like one of the picks that I can feel safe with. Even if he hits like 90, I'm not going to be too worried. I know he's going to blow up for a 100-yard game right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, Houston, they're in bad shape. I mean, they've lost their starting quarterback. I mean, they've already were in bad shape. But now they've given up 215 rush yards already per game. So they're trending in that direction for CMC. And at CMC, he's a touch monster. Like that's the guy who's a touch monster. Yeah, that's what you want.
Speaking of the touches, I do want to talk about Mark Ingram a little bit. He is leading the team in snap percentages as well. So 37.5 looks very attractive. And I might throw some money on that. He could hit over 37.5 rushing yards with those attempts that he's getting. He's getting a high percentage of attempts. So I'll take that.
His average is terrible. It's 3.3 yards per carry. I mean, so is David Johnson's, which is just, what are you going to do? But I mean, that's to be fair. That was week 1. Week 2, it was 2.9. So he's probably in like the 3.2 range, but it's about the volume. You know what I'm saying? So getting those attempts, he's got 40 rushing attempts so far. There's a good chance to kind of hit the over in that. But I think it's going to be a blowout. So we'll kind of see. I like that. What about the Sam Darnold low hanging fruit 6? You touching that at all? Or is that just a 6.5? You fading that?
I'm fading it. I've been missing, to be honest, lately on the rushing quarterbacks because Burrow had 7.5 last week. And I'm thinking, yeah, Burrow can do that. He's getting a ton of pressure on him. Yeah, that didn't happen. He just ended up throwing a bunch of picks.
Well, either or, but I want to say something. You were hot fire on this show last week. If you went with what LQ was spitting out, particularly Terry McLaurin, you would have stacked up so much cash because he was just going over. And I was listening. And so, honestly, that was a moneymaker last week. So don't be too hard on yourself. All right, let's talk about passing yards here. We've got Sam Darnold, who is averaging close to over 300 yards passing. Yeah. We've got 263.5 as his total. Houston giving up a ton of passing yards as well, over 500 yards in the first 2 games. What do you think about this? You going over, under? You think there's going to run the ball at CMC? Is that kind of like low-hanging fruit too, that you kind of think, oh, you're just going to smash it, but they don't even need to do it? What do you think?
I'm going to smash it. I think 263 is achievable, especially with CMC. With those screens counts as yards for him. So I definitely think, Sam Darnold will be able to light it up and have himself a day. I mean, Thursday Night Football, prime time, he's going to light it up. He has something to prove this season.
Yeah, I like that. And also the narrative, I think nowadays is, you want to kind of look good, particularly when you're the only game in town. So,
Yeah.
you're not going to rest
The
your
Thursday night
starter.
games have been fire lately, so
They
let's
have been.
not, mess up the rhythm.
Well, I also want to harken back to a fire play that you had last week. Tyler Heineke and Jalen Jones, we both went over the 22 and a half, 20, whatever it was, yards rushing for both of them. And we crushed and we hit. So, listen to us. I'm just saying. That was a couple, if you did that with the Terry McLaurin, you might be a millionaire, at least in fantasy bucks right now. So, Davis, Mills, are you fading his 209.5? That's a high total for a rookie. Never played a professional game in a real NFL on a Thursday night. Quick turnaround. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm fading. Quick turnaround, and we didn't see great things, once he got in, once Tyrod went down. So I'm fading it. He could hit over. I'm just not like willing to gamble with, a Davis Mills right now.
Well, and we'll get into it later with his injuries report, which is kind of going to come at the end. But there's quite a few Texans who are on that injury report who are wide receivers. So we're going to kind of see low, even in PrizePicks, availability for props and for parlays and things, just because they're not knowing who's going to play. So with that being said, passing completions, Sam Darnold 23. Over, under. We talked about him kind of doing over with the yards. You think he's going to need a lot of completions? Or you think he's going to slice them up for more deep passes, get that yak after the catch, and kind of have a low total of completions?
I think the 23 isn't too crazy, and I might even double up. I might do the over in the yards and over for the pass completions and just full send it. I think this is a low-key smash play, because if we're going to have him throw for over 263 yards, he has to have these completions. I definitely think it's something you can gamble on.
Yeah. And so far, Sam Darnold's completions 26 and 24. So, they're counting on that. And then also you do have the opponents. Think about it. In the second week, New Orleans, good opponent, right? Good opponent. And then in the first week, New York Jets, not a good opponent. So you see consistency there. They throwing the football, he's around 68% completion percentage, which is really good. CMC, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall. They've got a whole group of wide receivers and running backs there to get the job done. So I like that. Let's talk about those receivers and getting those yards, running backs as well. But who do you like here in the overs for or unders for receiving yardage? We've got McCaffrey on the board. Dan Arnold makes an appearance. Shout out Dan Arnold. Didn't know you were on the team.
There he is.
I did know, but I'm just kidding. What do you like in the receiving yards here? Are you going all Panthers? Are you getting Brandon Cooks in there? What are you doing?
I'm throwing Brandon Cooks in there. Obviously, CMC is very attractive with the 51 yards as well. But I think Brandon Cooks just proved us that he is QB proof. He doesn't need an elite quarterback. Tyrod Taylor's down there slinging the ball to him. Maybe Davis Mills, he ends up passing along behind the Brandon Cooks, and that's about it. But, 68 yards, that's kind of low for Brandon Cooks. And when he's a big playability and he goes down the field and just jumps up and gets the ball somehow. So I definitely think Cooks and CMC is a lock here. I definitely want to put money on it.
Yeah. No, and CMC 51 and a hook. I think, like you said, he's getting all of those targets. In the first week, he led the team in targets. He led the team in reception. He led the team in receiving yards. So, this guy is the number one stunner on the team. Yes, you've got other guys there who can get the ball maybe further downfield, but McCaffrey, volume is king. And so, and he can take one to the house too. So one play can get you that over for him. So I like that. Dan Arnold, I'm going to wait and see with him. I think that you got Terrace Marshall there. You've got other targets. I'll be going under that right now for me. But DJ Moore at 66 and a hook. Oh man, I'm going to go over and I mean, listen, when you're looking for trends and when you're using your money, I mean, that's what you want is you want money to kind of, be smart. He's got in 2 games, it's not a huge total, but he's got, 79 yards and 80 yards. So, and those are on 11 targets and 8 targets. So, I mean, New Orleans, good defense, and so I do like the over in that for me, just putting my money kind of where you've seen the trend going. And like this guy can get you 100. He almost 1,200 yards last year on 66 receptions. This guy's a yak after the catch king. If
Eddie Bridgewater.
With the bridge. So I like that. What about Robbie Anderson? Are you going in at that 46? He's kind of been boomer bust here so far.
Very boomer bust lately. And it's a little alarming that him and Terrace Marshall have the same amount of targets. Terrace Marshall actually has more catches. So it's The little boomer bust here where it's like I kind of want to stay away from Robbie Anderson on the betting side and for the fantasy side because there might be tides changing, coming to week 3 where we see Marshall act as that wide receiver 2, even though he's still in the pecking order, the third option in that receiving group, because we already know CMC is like the king of it. Even though DJ Moore is leading right now in targets, I think CMC gradually throughout the season will obviously lead in targets on that team.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm with you. They both have 9 targets right now. And Terrace Marshall, 29 and a hook might be a little bit better just to put your money out there for a little better odds. If you're getting the same amount of target volume, looking for that. What about receptions? Are kind of tied to this. CMC 5.5. Is that just an easy slam dunk? Don't even think about it. You know what I mean?
It's laughable.
What are they doing? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Free money.
Yeah. I mean, he had 9 targets, 6 targets, a total of 14 receptions, 9 and 5. So I understand you're kind of splitting the difference there, but New Orleans a little bit different than Houston. We have a problem. So unless you think he's just going to take 190 yards and put all your money on the over of 51.5 for the receiving yards, then I think you got to smash this as well. I think it's not death by 1,000 cuts, but it might be death by like seven cuts. Yeah. I think that's all you need, and that beats 5.5. So, but then speaking of that, what do you think of Brandon Cooks is 5.5? Quarterback proof for yardage. What do you think about for receptions?
Cooks can do it. He can do it. I believe that he is still, the number one target that, they should do no matter what. I don't think anybody else out there is going to be taking, any of the catches, but he seems to find a way to get open. So I'm taking this 5.5 on Cooks as well.
Yeah. And I'm going to take the 5.5 on DJ Moore. 8 receptions, 6 receptions, 14. So far, the trend is in the right direction for me with my money. Also, really smash play here against, not a defense has been horrible, but no offense to Baker Mayfield. He doesn't have, Odell Beckham Jr. He's not slicing and dicing right now. They're trying to figure it out. And he got dinged in the game as well. So I think it's a little different situation. Sam Darnold looks like he is so happy to be free of Adam Gase that he is putting the ball where it should be.
Who isn't, though? The Adam Gase curse is gone.
Listen, I feel bad if he's got children, or a wife, because this guy, he's just tough. He's a tough guy, He
made hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. He's right. Okay for now.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see. Let's talk touchdown passes. I love this. My favorite ones. We've talked about this before when it's come up here. Sam Darnold, 1 and a hook. What do you think so far with Sam Darnold? He's got a lot of weapons to get the touchdowns to, honestly. He has
a lot of weapons, and he looked good in the red zone with decision-making, reading, at least the first 2 reads and then making a decision. That's like some of the small things that he improved with, I honestly believe. The Adam Gates we were just talking about, the Adam Gates curse is gone. So Joe Brady's he's just drawing them up for Sam Darnold to be able to be successful. And facing Houston, a bad team overall, I think Sam Darnold is easy smash for the 1 and a hook.
Mm-hmm. I like it a lot too. Now we have another fun little prop that I love these as well. Rushing touchdowns. And you get, half, so 0.5 there for McCaffrey. So he scores or he does not. What do you like in this? Do you like the over or the under on this McCaffrey play?
I think it's only a hook, like a 0.5, because we saw him 3 times on the inside of the 5 get tackled. So I think this is like a little bit of free money here. I think he's going to get it in. So smash on the rushing touchdowns for McCaffrey.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. He could pick up a receiving one. That might be less. Your odds are a little lower, even though he has a lot of receiving touchdowns. I do think he gets a rushing touchdown in this. I think he can take like a 10-yard to the house, 20-yard to the house. One of those it's the second quarter. Next, Christian McCaffrey ends on 27-yard touchdown run. So I'm all about this. I can't wait until it happens. We'll tweet each other and we'll just say, hey, if you're listening to PrizePicks here, fancy football, picks and bets over here with the fancy millionaire Scott Simpson and, the Wolfpack member LQ, you're making money. That's the goal. We want to make you money. No kidding. All right. Now one of my favorite sections that they also have, which is super cool. And it translates to us fancy nerds, who love fancy points or on projections or whatever it is. I'm not a nerd like that. Maybe I am. Fantasy points. Who do you like? What's the total that you're kind of either looking to fade or smash here? There's a lot of numbers on the board. I don't want to pigeonhole you. Where are you starting off?
Now it's a lot of points on the board right now. And Sam Darnold, I believe he gets us over 20. I think that's an obvious smash. If we're believing that he can give us 2 touchdowns, that's halfway there. And then you add the yards. Mathematically, it just makes sense that Sam Darnold can get over 20 fantasy points. Now look at DJ Moore. 16 fantasy points. I like that as well because he's definitely going to ball out as well, being the number one target out of that wide receiver core, obviously. And then let's go lower and maybe David Johnson sneaks in a touchdown. That's like 10 yards, 7 points right there. Maybe 6.5 is a little low for a guy that's getting receiving looks as well. So PPR, I definitely think, David Johnson 6.5 is possible.
Yeah, I like those. I'm also going to throw in the 24 points for Christian McCaffrey. You know that dude wants to eat against anybody who's going to be as porous as the Texans are. And then Brandon Cooks 14. If we talk about him getting over 5 targets, he's probably going to get over maybe 60, 70 yards. It's right in that range. I think he can do that. If he scores, maybe I know that the defense has been strong for Carolina so far. You also have come up against 2 teams that offenses are not as good, which is also what Houston's is. So, it's a cakewalk schedule so far for the Carolina Panthers. Like, who would have thought?
Looking good.
Yeah, he does. Well, not cakewalk, but Jameis Winston walk. We'll pivot off of that, which I love. So that is our prize picks of the week for this Thursday's game. And please go check out down in the link in the description below for the Mayo Media Network. We've got the MMN code over there, and they will match you at PrizePicks.com $100 when you deposit. I love it, man. I did it today. So anything else we want to tie that bow off with, LQ? Anything else you want to jump in on that?
No, full send it. Let's get
fire content on. Yeah. Okay. So we reached out to the public and we didn't really have any quarterback content that kind of came back. We talked last week about Ryan Tannehill and what he was looking at. He did not perform that admirably. There were other quarterback plays that were better. Derrick Henry did. Checking in. Saquon Barkley. No. Aaron Jones, I'm gonna cry talking about it. They found his dad's ashes in the medallion that he wore in the football. He put a football with his dad's ashes around his neck. What, man? I'm just gonna cry right now. That guy is the man. He bounced back. Zeke bounced back. Najee Harris bounced back. So only Saquon, but we understand. We said Saquon was going to kind of be a slow send here with the recovery, just a limited amount of reps. He did bust off a long run, which looked
41 yarder.
Right, that looked good. So. Right, but if you went with the bets last week, you would have won money on Saquon too, because we said he could get that over to 37 yards. I think they had. Yeah. So anyway, but this week let's jump in. I'm just trying to say we're good, and I want people to know, particularly you, LaQuan, because I can tout myself, but then I get like nicknames, from my co-hosts like Toots and stuff. Like I toot my own horn, so I'm gonna toot other people and be like, man, other people are awesome, because I just try to talk about the wins. Because if you win, you want people to understand like this is
exactly
a good thing.
Yeah, accountability, right?
Accountability. Right, exactly. So let's talk about running backs right now. Myles Gaskins or Melvin Gordon. What are you thinking this week? In their matchup. Gaskins. I've liked what I've seen so far, but then they've got a hurt quarterback. They're going up against the Raiders. The Broncos. I got the Jets. Where are you leaning in this matchup?
I can't touch Gaskins for the simple fact, the hurt QB situation and back-to-back weeks with less than 10 carries. That's a little annoying. You know what I mean? For a guy that's said to be this workhorse. When I think of workhorse, I'm thinking 15 to 20 touches, but that's not what seems to be the case here. It looks a little weird, but he does have the PPR upside, 5 targets, 5 catches, et cetera, et cetera. That's fine, but I'm going with Gordon. Gordon's showing some home run ability in week 1. I know he's splitting with Javonte Williams. Just be patient with Williams. Do not drop him just yet or sell. Just hold the line because December, he's obviously going to pop off like a Derrick Henry once it gets cold outside. So just hold on just a bit. But and go ahead, Scott.
No, I was going to say I agree with you 100%. And if you think about Miles Sanders when he first came out, you didn't play Miles Sanders first 10 weeks, and then after that, you played him the rest of the game. That's the season.
Exactly.
Every game. So I think he's got to think about when that running back rookie's going to kind of take the mantle. And the only thing I would say is at one point I did tweet out on Sunday, Melvin Gordon has 13 carries for 31 yards. So it is tricky sometimes with all these running backs. It's touchdown or PPR or breakaway or bust at times for some of the less volume, the timeshare backs. So, but speaking of that, what do you think about James Robinson, who's not in a timeshare with anybody but Urban Meyer's head? And then you got Damian Harris, who's shown some upside. He's played well. He's going up against New Orleans, or then the aforementioned, Javonte Williams against the Jets in that split with Gordon. Who would you lean this week?
I love Damian Harris, but I do not like the matchup right now. He will have to sit for me. I know it's going to be painful to pull the trigger on that one for a lot of fantasy managers, but I hate the matchup. James Robinson, man, against Arizona. Again, he's battling with Urban Meyer. I don't know what Urban Meyer's thinking. We did see a snap percentage increase, in week 2, but it wasn't anything fantasy relevant. So I got to go with Javonte Williams, man. He looked good with all his opportunities, and he ended up, breaking off with a couple broken tackles and runs where I'm seeing flashes of greatness. So I'm going to ride with, the Broncos running backs right now with the 50-50 split.
No, I like it. I like how you're playing the upside, also playing the matchup there against the Jets. So last one in the running back category, we got a little bit more meat on the bone. These are guys kind of mid-round, mid-second, third-round running backs here. Joe Mixon or David Montgomery. And so we're still right now not sure what's going to happen with the quarterback situation and how it's all going to kind of break out. At least for the Bears. I'm not sure if you've heard the latest. I've been at the beach all day, so I've not heard it. I'm sure Matt Nagy has denied, that Fields is his quarterback 3 times before the rooster crowed tonight. I'm sure something like that happened for sure. But what do you think? Bears versus Browns in that matchup? Are you rolling, or are you going David Montgomery or Joe Mixon? What do you think?
I'm gonna go Monty. Monty has been looking top 5-ish. It's definitely the Rams game that I like to highlight. Rams are a tough defense all around, and he ended up just making us look silly, popping off for a 100-yard game. And he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's playing just a lot faster. He's seeing the holes. Like, he's just looking top 5-ish. I say that, and I mean that, because we might actually see, Monty finish in the top 5 again with this volume and with him catching passes out of the backfield as well. I mean, the touchdowns are obviously going to be there with Fields as the starting quarterback. That only helps the running game as well with a mobile running back. So Monty, I'm riding all the way through.
Yeah, no, I like that too. And the Chicago defense has done pretty well. They've only given up 141 yards. But you know what? Things can change, exactly. Overnight, game to game. That's how it works. It's a game to game league. All right, let's jump to some wide receivers here. Not necessarily you have to give a huge explanation for every single one of them, but if you have a little nugget in your pocket, feel free to jump in and share.
Yep.
Chase Claypool, who's kind of been just terrible, or Devontae Smith, who great first game, second game, So where are you leaning here? You think Chase breaks out, or Devontae Smith kind of keeps coming up and ascending?
I might go with Devontae Smith here. I'm gonna ride the wave. I'm gonna ride the wave for the usage and target share. Big Ben is apparently dealing with a pec injury, so not too sure how that's gonna look for Chase Claypool, even with Deontay Johnson now. So I'm riding with Smith.
Yeah, no, I like that. We'll see how. I'm disappointed in kind of how they've featured Chase so far, but we didn't know what Big Ben was going to be like so far. He's been Big Benny, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Big Benny. All right. I'm thinking Benny Hill. I'm thinking running around England, just like anyway. It's an '80s reference. I'm old. All right. So next up, this is from an angry caller. First time, long time. They said Odell Beckham or Calvin Ridley, and then the reason they gave for that was Matt Ryan is getting on their nerves. Isn't he getting on us all? I mean, that's just like the truth.
Getting on everybody's nerves.
Everybody just wants to give Matt Ryan a little something. But what do you think, Ridley? You fading him for Odell? Who hasn't even played yet. I mean, he's coming back. Right. I mean, Baker might not even be full go. So I mean, I don't know about that.
I would never full on Odell Beckham. Everybody knows how I feel about Odell Beckham. If you don't, just check my Twitter and type in Odell Beckham or OBJ as a search bar. So you'll see exactly how I feel about Odell Beckham. I'm never starting him over Ridley, ever.
Right. If I could go back in time and get that one-handed catch, like, move forward, pay it forward to maybe I'll get maybe that one play for. Okay. Yeah. But no, I'm always going Ridley. I got a couple Corey Davis questions. I didn't know Corey Davis was so popular. So I looked at my timeline and I was just like, another Corey Davis. Great. There's like 4 of them. I whittled it down to 2. Corey Davis versus the Broncos or Tyler Boyd. I mean, I'm not a huge Tyler Boyd truther, but he's going up against the Steelers. What do you think here? Who are you leaning in this matchup?
This is tough, really. You kind of have to go with the number 1 target. It's going to be an ugly start over Tyler Boyd, but you got to go with the number 1 target on that Jets offense, and that's Corey Davis.
Yeah, it is ugly. You should get better receivers next time. I'm just,
Yeah.
food for thought. Speaking of better receivers, we do have a better receiver here. I think is an easy one. Corey Davis or Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones, clearly the number one wide receiver. Laviska Shenault, also, we'll talk about him later. Injury concerns there. You're going Marvin Jones, correct? That's the only answer.
Marvin for sure, man. That is my guy. 10th round wonder, back-to-back seasons, finding the end zone 9 times. Give me all of Marvin Jones.
I put him in a bunch of DFS lineups. By the way, shout out when you play your best friend in head-to-head and you just beat him down, Bowman, big time. Shout out you, brother. All right, that was me beating him down. All right, thieves. Here we go. Tight ends, Fant versus the Jets or our Andrews guy from, I think he's a guy from the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think about him versus the Lions? Nice little matchup there, juicy matchup for both, I think. Who are you leaning in this?
We watched the Lions let Robert Tonyan light up a little bit, but I'm gonna go with Noah Fant. He has the volume. I definitely like that he was able to, get the catches that he did and give us some yak with the yards as well. So I'm going with Fant, safer bet here. Andrews has been asleep for the last couple of days. Well, the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, Hollywood, the resurgence. It sounds delicious.
Yeah, so. Tavon Austin, no more. I can't call him that no more. He's actually playing up the part. He's like playing like Tyreek Hill-ish.
Yeah, delete those tweets quickly before awful takes. Hashtag.
I do not care. That man was Tavon Austin.
He totally was, right. Oh, totally. Well, that's because he could only throw to the middle of the field. He didn't, he wasn't throwing to the boundary ever. And they'd be like, hey, listen, go stand by the boundary. And he'd be like, but he's not going to throw the football to me. He's like, we know, just stand over there. But anyway, shout out Harbaugh. I love that. Go for it. Go, we're going to go for it. I mean, he knew he was going to go for it.
I love that moment. Those are the moments that are going to be put in history to just replay. Just, you want to go for it? Yeah. All right.
I mean, he knew Lamar was going to say yes. He just wanted him to know, like, I've got faith in you. If you feel like you could go, for it, and that means a lot for a player to get that coach. Like, we're going to go for it, right? But I'm just checking with you, So I love that. Anyway, all right, we got some Twitter Flex questions as well. These are all brought to you by Twitter. And by the way, you can follow me at NimbleW numbers on Twitter. The W, they didn't have enough room for width, but it's inferred. It's width, right? The numbers are nimble next to me. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing the numbers. And then my guy, the real deal fan. I mean, come on. I mean, this is one of the best Twitter accounts you can follow on Fantasy Football Twitter or on any Twitter, really, for our content only hashtag. So on Twitter, we had a bunch of flex questions. I like Devontae Smith or James Robinson this week.
Smith, 100% Smith.
Yeah, I'm with you. Robert Woods or Deontay Johnson. I don't think Deontay Johnson plays, honestly.
I don't think he plays.
He's going to be Robert Woods. This is an interesting one. Elijah Moore or Chase Edmonds.
Ugh. Chase Edmonds is good for 12 points, so I might go for Chase Edmonds.
More stability there for sure. Oh, there's somebody who's more exciting. Rondale Moore or the person who my wife called Cordelli or what did she call him? Cordelli or Patterson today. She's like, do you know this guy Cordelli or I should have played him last week. Yeah, he was on my bench. I said Cordero Patterson. She goes, no, Cordelli or I said, okay. What do you think? Rondale Moore or Cordero Patterson?
Give me Rondale Moore. We saw a snap increase. We're seeing him getting hot. He had a great play and took it to the house. So give me all Rondale Moore.
I like that. You're looking for upside, yes. And definitely you have that and more. All right, this is a triple header here. Speaking of Arizona, Captain Christian Kirk. We've got Kareem Hunt or Darius Fingertip Slayton. They call him now. PPR action. What do you think?
Believe it or not, I'm going to go Hunt on this. I mean, the two guys, Slayton and Kirk, they're too big play dependent. I mean, they have to go like 20-plus yards to make big plays, and that only happens like twice or 3 times a game. So give me Hunt.
Yeah, no, I like that. And if you're looking at the Browns this week, they are going up against the Bears. And so I'm not sure what the total is yet. I'll have to do my homework on that. But you could definitely see a lot of ground and pound because that's what the Browns love to do. Like if they go to MMA, they're the ones who are cheering ground and pound the whole time. If you want to know like that whole subsection, it's the Browns. So, all right, next one we've got. I thought this was pretty easy myself. But maybe not. Maybe because Corey Davis is involved, which is ridiculous.
Everybody loves Corey Davis.
I don't know. I'm dropping him off. This Corey Davis, you're eviscerated. That's a shout out to my show. We get people off. We get them off the island. So Corey Davis, you're gone on this one. McLaurin or Scary Terry or Debo Samuel. Who are you going this week?
McLaurin, 100%, man. He
always
is a target hog. Give it to me.
Yeah, and Tyler Heineke knows where his butter is breaded, right? That's what I say.
Yeah. A little side of toast.
Oh my goodness. He was throwing it to him all the time. He's like, why am I going to throw it to anybody else? And then JD McKissick as well. So, all right, let's talk a little NFL injury news real quick, and then we'll get you out of here. Don't forget to smash the like, the subscribe button, and then also MMN on the Prize Picks. The link is down in the description below. All right, here we go. NFL injury news. King Andy Dalton himself, the heir apparent to Mitch Trubisky, which says a lot, and Nick Foles too. Sprained ankle. What do you think? Is he going to be playing this week? Is it the Justin Fields excuse we all needed to get him in, and now he's going to run with it? What do you think?
Yeah, Matt Nagy found his way out of the relationship. I think Andy Dalton's getting benched for the rest of the season. Fields' time is on the rise.
I like that. Speaking of ankle sprains, we've got Carson Wentz with the double ankle sprain, which is never good. Never good. Hey, if I got one problem, let's have it double the problem with another one. So
insane.
That's ridiculous. Carson Wentz, do you think he goes this week with the double ankle sprain? Or do you think he kind of sits this one out and kind of like learns to walk again?
He is mentally not stable. I say that because he's coming from Philly, and I know who the fans are. I know exactly how they act because I'm only 20 minutes from Philly.
Right.
He has something to prove this season.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe he's going to play bandaged up. Like he's just going to wrap it up and he's going to play. It's going to hurt him in the long run, but he's too stubborn. I know exactly where he's at mentally. So he wants to be this tough guy right now. He has something to prove because honestly, he balled out against my Rams. Like he had Pittman looking great. So Carson Wentz can play. He still can play. That play action was working for him. So Wentz, I gotta say he's probably gonna play. He's probably gonna play.
I mean, he already broke his foot and came back or whatever, So I'm with you on that one. Yeah, he came back real quick. So, all right, what about Baker? You think Baker suits it up kind of same thing with his shoulder injury? You think that's a little bit too much to kind of overcome?
I'm not too sure if it's his throwing shoulder, but even if it is, I think Baker toughs it out.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he doesn't throw the ball very far anyway. So I do think it benefits Kareem Hunt and all the little underneath guys. What about Jarvis Landry and his knee? This is not great news, right?
Nah, I think Landry sits out. Odell maybe steps back in.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that whole offense kind of going to lean on the running game, # ground and pound. That's a new little situation we learned. Also, speaking of getting pounded on the ground, Tua Tagovailoa, he's got the bruised ribs. They said, in extreme pain. I read that in there. They wanted to throw that in there, just letting us all know that we didn't know that these bruised ribs were extremely in pain. So not looking great for him. What do you think long-term effects on kind of the situation with Miami?
It's weird because when it first initially happened, they kind of fluffed it up more serious than it was, but then the report later that night was saying he was day to day. And I'm like, how are you day to day with bruised ribs, bro? No, sit down. I understand we have new technology, medication and medicine and stuff, but no, sit down. I think there should be no rush to get Tua back in. I mean, bruised ribs are bruised ribs. And I honestly think, he should be sidelined for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're going to be able to throw the football at all, you need that motion. Just ask Drew Brees, who famously was crying on the sideline last year instead of going and getting medical help. I don't understand that at all. They were like, yeah, he's got a couple cracked ribs. No, I saw him. He was trying to breathe on the sideline the whole time and he couldn't breathe. And if as soon as I get hurt, I'm just like Will Ferrell. I'm crying on the ground and I'm having the whole world stop and they've got an ambulance for me on the field. I mean, this guy's just standing on the sideline, just tears going down the side of his face. It's just so I don't know about Tua doing that. Yeah. Also, speaking of somebody not probably doing that contact sport, somebody gets hit in the hole all the time. Darrell Henderson also dealing with a rib issue as well. So look out for that. I'm not sure if he goes this week. That's a tough thing to overcome. Sonny Michel should be on waivers if he's not. Yeah, make sure you pick him up if he's on waivers. And then the whole we hinted at this before in some of our prize picks. Most of the Texans' offensive starters are injured, so we have at least on the football catching and passing side. Tyrod Taylor out for a couple weeks with a hamstring. Danny Amendola also battling a hamstring, and then Nico Collins has a shoulder. And I think there's a bunch more, but that's all I had room for on this sheet. Yeah. So any of those players matter at all to you in fantasy? As people, we pray for their early recovery, but I think this, if anything, for me, it kind of tilts this game hugely in Carolina's favor, if anything, because you're missing a lot of the the people who kind of practiced and then know the offense. And, they installed it. They did. Dan Amendola got a touchdown in the first week. So we can't call them Strabinis or anything like that, And then on the other side, the 49ers need to sign Frank Gore because Trey Sermon concussion, Michael Hasty ankle. I'm not sure what's going on there. Elijah Mitchell, we said maybe was a must start for the rest of the year. He looks like he has to start because he's the only live body on the team. Word is Mike Shanahan might come out of retirement and suit up as well with Frank Gore, making them the oldest team in the NFL. So
sick.
Yeah. What do you think also? Laviska Shenault situation with his shoulder, his labrum might be damaged. Do you think he misses a couple weeks long term? What do you think about his prognosis? Are you dropping him or are you holding on to him? He hasn't looked great.
No way I'm dropping him. No way. The Jags are pass happy right now. They have the highest ADOT right now. I really feel like, they'll get it together. As long as Shenault is sidelined for a little bit to come back ready to play, the sky's at a limit for Laviska. I'm not dropping him at all. It's silly to drop him after 2 weeks actually with a rookie quarterback because the quarterbacks gradually get better throughout the season. So if he's leading right now with all these stats and, their pass happy offense right now, Chenault's going to eat eventually.
Yeah, no, I like that. Stash him on your IR if he goes down and keep him there as long as you can. And speaking of something you need to stash on your IR, Deontay Johnson, love that guy. He gets hurt every game, man. Poor guy, battling a knee injury. They thought it was going to be terrible, and then not as bad. They're still kind of seeing swelling going down. What's going to be? I think he misses this week, maybe next week. But hold on to him as well. And just see what happens. I think he is the best wide receiver. It is Juju season. I hate saying that. He's a milk crate away from also being on season-ending IR at any point. So I don't trust his decision-making on or off the field at times. But that is what you're left with, Pittsburgh. I'm so sorry for you. A couple years ago, you had Antonio Brown. And I got to say this. I said it before. And look, Antonio Brown's looking a lot better these days. Maybe he was right. And Juju was wrong all along back in the day. I don't know. But anyway, you're awesome, LQ. I love hanging out with you. This is one of my favorite things to do every week. I can't believe that I get paid to do this. Pat Mayo, you are the man. I appreciate you so much. Please do go follow LaQuan. LaQuan, what are you doing right now? Where can people find you? What's going on with you?
Man, I got fire content only coming all week long. I'm writing for Downtown Rams. I just dropped the article. Do not panic. Go read it right now. And you need to just stick tight. Then you got me dropping videos all through the week on the channel, Real Deal Fantasy on YouTube. Catch me on Instagram, Twitter, of course, and I'll be there. You see the face, you know the case.
I love it, man. That's just fire content only is exactly what I see every time when I see LaQuan. I see him all over those spaces, and I love it. Do go follow me, Nimble W Numbers on Twitter, nimblewnumbers.com. DFS, we've got cash games. We've got GPP content every week. We've got a Patreon if you want to get some lineups in there. Last week, I beat Bo McBig time in the clash of the beards and the bellies. Gave him the beat down. Let everybody know. When you see Bo on Twitter, let him know. Say, hey, man, Scott gave you the beat down. He'll enjoy that. So you can check us out there. I also write for the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Priced Up, Priced Down. Each week, what's DK doing? What's the DraftKings movement looking like on players? Should you fade the plays? Should you go ahead and smash them? I give it to you every week, give you about 20 players that you can take a look at. And then, you know what? Same thing as you. I'm on Twitter all the time doing fire content only, but not as fire as yours because I can't steal your brand. So I'm just going to say it's nimble content. That's how it'll be. It'll be.
I'll get you a shirt, bro.
Dude, I love it. I would love that, man. You're awesome, and I appreciate working with you. Make sure you subscribe to the Mayo Media Network. It's incredible. Make sure that you smash the like and the subscribe button on all of our platforms. Go follow Pat Mayo as well, and go sign up for PrizePicks using the MMN code down there. You get $100 deposit matching, and you want that. That's free money, and go play all these plays and make all this money, and then you can just keep it going again and again and again. And we'll be back here every single Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. We'll be here every single week. So check us out. Follow LaQuan and myself. And we'll be out. We thank you guys. Love you.
Peace.